Hi, my name is Maria Gaspar. I am based in Chicago, and I'm coming to you today from Pilsen, which is on the west side of the city. For this exhibition, I am presenting a project called Disappearance Jail, which is an ongoing series of projects that I began doing at the height of the pandemic. At the height of the pandemic, and after having spent at least 10 years working inside and outside of jails and prisons, I was really grappling with one, being a parent of a baby, being unable to get to my studio and do my work, being unable to return to the jail to do my community-based projects with incarcerated people. So I turned to the resources that were at my home, which was my inkjet printer. And I began printing out images of carceral facilities. I began with Cook County Jail, which is this image that you see here. You see 26th Street, which is the main thoroughfare of this neighborhood that I grew up in. You see the jail wall, the border that separates people from their loved ones. And you see Division 1, which is here at the top, which is no longer existing. It has since been demolished. And as I was looking at this image, I was thinking about abolition. I was thinking about all of the organizing, the reckoning, the sorrow and loss we were feeling after the murder of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and many others, and was thinking about embodiment, how a perforation, removing an image away, can be an act of abolition, could be an act of reimagining something else. And as I hold this image up right now, you're seeing parts of my face. You're seeing other things show through the holes. And I became very interested in this. I became interested in how the perforation or the punch out can be an embodiment of imagining another world, a world without prisons. This led to punching out many other carceral facilities. And what you'll see at this exhibition is a collection of all of the carceral facilities that exist in the state of Virginia, which I've collected and indexed and organized with a wonderful team. And this index has gaps. This index is perhaps not as comprehensive as we'd like, but it is a marking, a snapshot of what carceral facilities look like, of how much access we have to finding out which ones exist and which ones don't. And it's been through this journey and this process of gathering this information that has led to really understanding the landscape of punishment within each state that I've worked on so far. After having punched out the initial images of carceral facilities in Chicago, I began to explore the rest of the state, and I completed over 165 images of carceral facilities in the state of Illinois. I then began the state of California for an exhibition that is up currently at UC Santa Cruz at the moment. And we punched over 260 carceral facilities that exist in that state. I've gone on to the state of Ohio with over 150 facilities, and now Virginia, which is around 150 as well. And what I'm doing is I'm asking community members to come to a punch party and punch out these images with me, and to think of each punch out as an embodiment of something that we need and want, something that we desire for ourselves, for our families, for our community. Maybe one of these holes represents love. One of these punch outs represents healthcare, or joy, or rest, or education. And I'm asking each individual to choose a carceral facility that speaks to them. Maybe they know it, maybe they've been there, maybe they have a family member who's been there. or maybe they're just interested in exploring this issue, and to think through forms of abolition, forms of life, the representation of life, and how facilities like this are often there to take life away, to confine. Through this action, my goal is to punch out carceral facilities from all over the country, so that by the end of this project, you'll see every facility punched out. And that maybe this action, this embodiment, will bring us closer to a world without prisons. This project began after many years of working inside of jails and prisons. I've worked primarily with a facility here in Chicago, in my own neighborhood on the west side called Cook County Department of Corrections. I've worked inside with people who are incarcerated, and I've also worked with people who have been impacted by incarceration, or people just interested in mobilizing around the issue. And through this work, I've met incredible people. I've developed long-term friendships with artists, with formerly incarcerated people, with incarcerated people, with young people who are organizing, who are mobilizing people, who want to understand and examine carcerality through art, through poetry and sound and performance. Two of my projects, 96 Acres Project and Radioactive Stories from Beyond the Wall, are representations of this work. Radioactive being the previous project where I worked with around 30 incarcerated men to produce an audio and visual broadcast, which was live broadcast on radio in Chicago and projected onto the wall of Cook County Jail as a series of weekend interventions where many people came from all walks of life, neighbors, county residents, or just passerby, and really saw the wall as a kind of microphone, as a speaker. And the incarcerated people, the artists who I worked with, produced these personifications of physical aspects of the interior of the jail, such as the Department of Corrections uniform, the jail wall, or perhaps the mirror inside one of the tiers. And this led to some interesting fictionalized narratives that were humorous, that were sorrowful, that were about redemption. One person essentially wrote an apology letter to the women in his life, to his mother and his sister for being absent. And others used humor to try to talk about a political issue. So I really look forward to working with the community there and punching out these images. I welcome you to join me during the workshops and to engage with me in this conversation. Thank you for your time.